They are set for the green flag. 43 cars made the field. If you just joined us, 60 were here to attempt to qualify. If you do the math, that means 17 went home. 21 of these drivers will compete today and then tomorrow in the Pepsi 400.
These cars will race today, average speed somewhere around 175 to 177 miles per hour. These cars, even with as little horsepower as they have, getting faster and faster at the Michigan Speedway.
Pontiac safety car, and this massive field and grandstands packed with fans are on their feet, awaiting the green flag.
Take Dale Earnhardt Jr. long to come down from that spot and try to take the lead going down the backstretch. 3 wide. He's on the inside. Could not make that pass. Wisely decided to back off and let the other guys go.
Up 3 by 3 inside and outside, but they're still chasing Blaney, who was pulled away by about 7 or 8 car lengths at turn 1.
And Dave Blaney, the Amoco onboard, looks back the entire field behind him.
That's a separation down the back straightaway, 2,400 feet at 185 miles an hour. Now Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie car. That's the look he has, the back of the Lance Chevrolet for Jeff Burton.
Mark Martin trying his best to take over that 4th spot from Sterling Marlin. Meanwhile, they're 3 abreast, as looks like Mike Dillon on the inside. Yes. Wisely backs off. That was the 25 car of Kenny Wallace.
Ward Burton trying to make a move down on the inside, but that is back for 6th position. He is the 02 car. Now he will fall back in line behind the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Our outlaw copter cam looking high above this 2-mile D-shaped oval.
And Sterling Marlin all of a sudden really seems to be having some problems up on the high side. Oh, turned right in front of the entire field.
That is the 86 of Gary Bradbury, who got a tap from behind and turned him directly up into the wall.
Wow. Just amazing that no more cars than Bradbury involved. And we see the Meyer sponsorship on the car here and some heavy damage to the nose of that car.
Take a look again. You'll see him coming off turn 4. And looks to be the Kenny Irwin car, number 11, the Rayovac car that was right behind Bradbury, who may have moved up across the racetrack as he was coming up in front of him. The Don Mark Ramon Chevrolet with the Meyer sponsorship bringing out the caution for the first time. Let's look again from high above, guys.
Well, right there, Kenny Irwin was trying to go by on the outside, looked like Kyle, and Bradbury was trying to move up.
Yeah, that's one thing this racetrack lends itself to is 4 and 5 wide racing. We've already seen it down the front stretch. We've seen it in the corners. And the problem is it's tough to know where everybody is. It looks like at that point in time that the 11 car of Kenny Irwin, he was searching for a place. Bradbury was searching for a place, and they just got to the same place on the racetrack at the same time. You can't say it was anybody's fault because it happens in the middle of the straightaway. Everybody's just jockeying for position.
Well, the window net is down. That's the good news. And Gary Bradbury looks to be okay. Moving around inside the car. Safety crews are there at the window. We'll come back and reset the field from Michigan Speedway in just a moment. At Michigan Speedway, working caution for the first time today in the early laps here of the Napa 200. There is Jason Keller, who has 2 wins. His most recent victory, a dominating performance 2 weeks ago at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So an early, obviously an unscheduled pit stop for the IGA Fleming Chevrolet. Ray, what was the problem?
Doc, they got a little piece of debris as they came down through the front stretch. It got stuck in the front grille, and they were afraid that if they ran into someone, it might puncture the radiator. But no problem on the IGA car. They got the debris out, and everything's good.
Well, the 91 car also had Rich Bickle and the 5 of Dick Trickle. Let's check in with Bill Weber.
Well, Jerry, Dick Trickle's car was tight yesterday, but very loose here at the start of the race. Very, very loose. So he came in, they tightened him up a little, took a spring rubber out of the right rear, and sent him back out on the track.
All right, there's a look at Dick Trickle's Snyder Chevrolet, owned by Jimmy Spencer. I'll show you why we're under caution. It came out on lap number 4.
The white car comes off the corner, Gary Bradbury, and right behind him is the 11th car of Kenny Irwin. Bradbury starts back up in the groove, and they make contact, and Bradbury goes up and makes contact with the wall, and no other cars involved.
Yep, from the rail back on board, here we'll see from Kenny Irwin's point of view, he's up the racetrack. As you saw from the other view, there were cars down below him. He starts down, the 86 starts up, boom, they just barely touch. You saw the 86 car get up in the air, and he hit a ton when he hit the outside wall.
And Benny from high above in the Outlaw copter cam, you can see the car begin to move up. As Benny mentioned, Bradbury up a little bit into the groove, and the contact in his car hit the wall a ton because they're going over 175 miles an hour there.
The way Bradbury came off turn 4, I think he thought he had cleared Kenny Irwin. He was just going to move up in front of him.
Yeah, I think he thought he had cleared, and I think Kenny Irwin was looking in the mirror, seeing the rest of the pack go to the inside of the racetrack, and Kenny wanted to get down and not get lost from the draft. And, you know, they just got together on the same piece of real estate.
Here is Casey Atwood, who was 11th in the points coming into the day. The phenomenal 18-year-old who became the youngest Busch winner ever this year at Milwaukee, winning from the pole. So he heads back behind the wall. Check in once again in the Jason Keller pits with Ray.
Well, Doc, I told you there was a very small piece of debris in the front valance of the IGA Chevy. Not really. It was a pretty big piece of debris. This is the front valance that came off of Gary Bradbury's car, and this entire piece was lodged in the front grille. They wanted to make sure they got it out of there, but evidently everything's okay with the 57.
Well, and Jason Keller will dodge a bullet here early on as they were dodging race cars with caution coming out on lap number 4. Back with the green flag in a moment. From Speedway, I'm Jerry Punch, along with Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Bill Weber, and Ray Dunlap calling the action today. NASCAR Busch Series action, completing the first caution flag of the afternoon, an incident involving Gary Bradbury and Kenny Irwin out of turn 4. Huge crowd on hand under clear skies at Brooklyn, Michigan. And we'll get set for the restart here on lap number 9.
Randall LaJoy, the first one to dive out of line. He dives in on the inside of Kenny Schrader, trying to take away a spot. Now looks like the outside line. Oh, and here comes a battle for the lead. Earnhardt Jr. on the inside of Blaney.
Earnhardt Jr., Kyle, just came roaring off of turn 2 like he'd been shot out of a canyon.
And that's stout right there, because I'm going to tell you something. It's just like Benny was getting ready to say. It looks like the outside line is the faster line. These Busch cars, even though they don't have the top speed with the 9-to-1s down the straightaway, if they can keep them wound up in the corners, they're faster through the corners than a Winston Cup car are. That's why they've had so much trouble with this tire, getting used to it in practice. With the new flexibility of the tire and the new construction, they've just had a hard time because they really run faster through the corners than Winston Cup cars do.
Still side by side. Now here's where Earnhardt Jr. was so good a lap ago, Benny.
And he still is good. He will take the lead, move up in front of Blaney. Now Mark Martin, the Winn-Dixie car, moves on the inside of Blaney, trying to take over that second spot. Purvis is going to go with Mark Martin. Here comes Jeff Gordon down on the inside.
Once again, the 60 car is Mark Martin. The 4 is Purvis. The 24 is Gordon, but on the inside of him is Warren Burton in the 02.
Imagine Jeff's surprise when a car was on the end. Jeff Gordon thought he was low in the corner, and all of a sudden there was a car beneath him. Wardburg pulled up alongside. Imagine his surprise. Now they're going to make it 3 wide. I thought maybe Sterling Marlin in the orange, number 14, was going to do that, but he decided not to.
Still a battle side by side, and now Ward Burton takes the Siemens Pontiac back in line behind Jeff Gordon's Pepsi car. Remember, it's the Busch car. It's the Gordon Evernham Motorsports car, not the Rick Hendrick machine they run on Sunday. We told you one of the young drivers had to call it a day early. I think Ray is with him, right?
Well, Doc, the winner at Milwaukee was Casey Atwood, but the same problem for Jason Keller. Debris got into the radiator. They've replaced it. Casey, do you go back out and race hard now, even though you're a few laps down?
Yeah, we're just going to try to go out there and ride and get some points. You know, our day's pretty much over, so Castro team's working hard to get us back out. We just need to stay in the top 10 in points, so we're going to get back out there and just ride them out.
Okay, so Casey will get back out there, but he's going to be, I'd say 6 or 7 laps down by the time they do the repair.
You know, that's one thing that's important. He's racing for points, and he's up in there. But it's like you say, he's 18, 19 years old. He needs the laps on the racetrack. They're more important to him than points are at this point in time. He's such a phenomenal talent that every lap that he puts in, he just continues to get better and better.
And as you look from Mark Martin's onboard, speaking of points, Earnhardt Jr. by leading now will get bonus points today. Remember the separation, only 1 point coming into the day. Matt Kenseth has started back in 30th spot. And thus far this year, Earnhardt Jr. has earned 30 more points than Kenseth in the 22 starts thus far.
30 points, bonus points, you're saying.
30 more bonus points by leading, right.
See Jeff Gordon going by and taking a spot away from the 4 car of Jeff Purvis.
You see the 93 car has begun to run them down a little bit. And you see the different lines that they run through the corners, where Earnhardt Jr. will let the car go in and run up a little bit. Mark will hammer that thing right down to the white line. You see him turning left right there out of the camera from the 93 car with Blaney.
You ever see the 91 car, Rich Bickle? He made a pit stop, but he's trying to work his way back. He goes by Steve Grissom, the 22 car. That moves him into about the 30th seconds position.
There are some of the cars toward the back of the pack that made that pit stop during the first caution flag. We mentioned Trickle was a part of that. Bickle, Jason Keller with that debris in his front grille.
Here comes Jeff Gordon on the inside of Blaney. Jeff Gordon's running around the bottom of the racetrack. This is for 3rd position. But as they run side by side, Kyle, that allows those 2 cars in front that are running nose to tail to run a little bit faster than Gordon and Blaney.
Yeah, the draft's incredibly important here. It's like I said, with the 9-to-1 motors, these cars don't have the straightaway speeds that the Winston Cup cars have. Talking to Adam last night, he was just thoroughly confused at how much the draft really picked him up yesterday in practice when they started running under race conditions.
And here's Mark Green slowing the backstretch, the Dr. Pepper car. That's the Julius Irving, Joe Washington-owned machine. Obviously having his troubles as he comes very, very slowly down toward pit road, so a tough break for Mark Green. One of 3 Green brothers in the field, and he'll make the left-hand turn back to the garage area.
That usually means a blown engine. Earnhardt still continues to lead in the 3 car. Mark Martin, I thought a little bit ago, was going to try to make a move on Earnhardt, but now it looks like he's satisfied to run in the tracks of the 3 car, the AC Delco Chevrolet, and try to figure out where the best line for the Winn-Dixie Ford would be.
They're single file back through about the 18th or 19th spot. Now there's Matt Kenseth actually in the 15th position as he makes a move inside of the Duralube car for Kenny Wallace. Kenseth started back in 30th position, and here at lap 16, he is trying to work his way into the top 15, and now he does.
And tomorrow, Kenseth will start the Winston Cup race in his own car for the first time. We see Brett Bodine in the Gold Bond car, and he and Jeff Green trying to hook up and go by Kenny Wallace.
I want to say something here about Brett Bodine. He just attempted to qualify for the Winston Cup race and missed the race. That's devastating, and it's devastating to miss a race, but then to think 15 minutes later you've got to get in a car, put on your game face, and go out here and run another race and get pumped up about it. Brett's done a really good job to come and move up through the pack as he is.
Indeed, as you look from high above, these shots courtesy of the fine folks of the Outlaw Copter Cam, giving us his views from high above this very wide 2-mile oval here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Told you Earnhardt Jr. is our leader. 5 poles, 4 wins this year. But he has a mirror full of experienced drivers.
Yeah, a couple of pretty good race car drivers right behind him. Is the Jeff Gordon, the Pepsi car, trying to get on the inside of Mark Martin to take over the second spot. I think Mark will probably fight this too hard because he realizes they'll just get farther and farther behind. But instead, he comes up on the outside, trying to hold on to that second spot.
Now he takes that car down to the bottom of the racetrack. Cal, it must be a good feeling knowing you have that much racetrack and that much room in a turn to be able to go like 3 lanes away from the guy and move up on him and make the pass.
Yeah, it is. That's what's so special about running in Michigan and some of the other Penske tracks is the corners are so wide that you feel like you can race anywhere. You can go in high, you can come back across, somebody can go in below you and slide up a little bit. You've got room to cover for their mistakes, and they've got room to cover for yours. And it makes for some incredible racing as the day goes on.
I mentioned for you KC Atwood fans, he is back out of the garage area, Benny, and back on the racetrack, so maybe he'll be able to gain some of those points back.
Yeah, they've been able to change the radiator. He's now 13 laps down. Now we see Jeff Burton trying to get on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Randy LaJoy. Bob Evans on board cameras trying to follow Jeff Burton, but Burton slides up the racetrack and leaves LaJoy hung on the inside with no one to draft with. Check our speed and RPMs on our Lucas Oil Products on board telemetry. LaJoy up to 180 miles per hour. Meanwhile, a battle for the lead off turn 4.
Jeff Gordon trying to take the lead here on lap number 20 of 100, and he will take the lead, sliding up out of turn 4.
And you saw Jeff move to the bottom of the racetrack. You see guys do that in qualifying. They kind of run downhill down the front stretch. At the same time, when you're in a race like that, that breaks the draft. That keeps you from running side by side with somebody and slowing you down. Both cars get to maximize whatever their aerodynamics are and what their motors are.
All right, here's that scramble Benny was talking about a moment ago. That's Sterling Marlin looking at the back bumper of the Bob Evans restaurant car, LaJoy's car, as they go by David Green in the 41.
This is a battle back for the 11th, 12th position. And we see Matt Kenseth on the inside, the Walt Tools car moving up on the inside of Sterling Marlin.
Matt Kenseth has come a long, long way to be in a battle for 10th, 11th, and 12th right in this position right here.
Matt told me yesterday that the car would not qualify well. It was very, very tight in qualifying, but he said on race day, as warm as it's going to be, my car will loosen up with all that big stagger difference, and I will be a factor in the race itself.
The way he's coming right now, he's definitely going to be a factor, especially if they catch a caution at some point in time and they can bunch him back up, because he's fought to get to this place without him. That's the advantage of having a caution every now and then.
Jeff Burton, Kenny Schrader, Michael Waltrip. And Waltrip started in 26th spot and is right now trying behind the 9 car. He's in 9th position trying to take over 8.
Michael's Band-Aid Chevrolet, same car he finished 5th with at Charlotte back in May, and hoping to get another top 5 finish here. Best finish actually came here 3 years ago when he finished 7th in Busch competition in Michigan.
You know, you talked about Casey a minute ago being back in the race here after only losing 12 or 13 laps. There he is slowing down. But you got to think about that. These are 30-second laps. Those guys changed the radiator in about 6.5 minutes, which is pretty incredible for their crew.
Racing all around this racetrack. Still in the early laps. We are just about a quarter of the way through. Then we'll click off 25 laps in about a lap or so. So we have 23 complete. Jeff Gordon, for the first time in Busch Series competition this year, is our leader. Back with more from Michigan in just a moment. Stay with us. I was able to take the lead early from pole sitter Dave Blaney as the crew watched an approving eye. Casey Atwood, the young 18-year-old, had trouble, but so did the veteran Gary Bradbury, a tap from Kenny Irwin. But on lap 20, it was 3-time Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon who would take the lead for the first time in 1999 in Busch Series competition.
And he continues to lead. He and Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now have a 2-second lead over the third-place car of Dave Blaney. Blaney was able to get by Mark Martin while we were in break. And here comes Earnhardt Jr. down the inside. Man, he's so strong off that turn 2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car is incredible up off turn 2. When somebody's in front of him, it's like his car is able to turn in the middle of the corner or arrow-wise. He's able to make that cut and stand in the gas and drive it up off the corner a lot better in second place than he is when he's leading.
As we mentioned, Earnhardt Jr. will be racing here tomorrow in the Pepsi 400. Great experience being able to race in front of, beside, and behind at car number 24 of Jeff Gordon. And possibly a little bit of a glimpse into NASCAR's future. Talented young drivers mixing it up here in NASCAR Busch competition.
See Kevin LePage driving the 77 car this week. He's in 7th position. Jeff Burton is in the 9 car in 8th, and Michael Walter, the 21 car in 9th. All Winston Cup drivers. Now trying to learn what they can and make a buck on a Saturday afternoon.
Kevin LePage normally drives the Redman sponsored car for Bill Patsy, the 99 car, but he didn't have this one on his schedule and was asked by Jimmy Means, who was the chief mechanic on that Lear car, if he would drive a team car with Ed Barrier. As you see on the bottom of the racetrack, Jeff Burton goes all the way down. What Kyle was talking about a moment ago, he headed toward Jackson to make that pass.
And that's the way Jeff Burton Winston Cup car has been working too. Those guys, the Fords, they've got those Fords, Jeff and Mark both, where they can run on the top of the racetrack or they can turn left in the middle of the corner and get right down on that white line and just power up off of it.
Well, the two-time series champion did not want to be seeing one of our pit guys early in the race, right, Ray?
Absolutely, Doc. 9th in the points coming into the race is Randy LaJoie. Your car's in the garage. What's the problem?
Something happened under the hood. Stopped through the drive-through Bob Evans. I guess it's unfortunate. You know, we tightened the car up a bunch from last practice. We definitely tightened it up a whole lot. But we had some adjustments. We could have been okay. Just got right along, and something happened to the, looks like under the hood here. But oh well, we'll get them next week.
Okay, that's Randy LaJoie. And guys, remember, if he could win the race at Charlotte, a lucky fan has a shot at $1 million. They definitely don't want to see him behind the wall like he is today. One more update on the 27 car, Casey Atwood. They're done for the day. After they changed that radiator, the engine let go after he went back out on the track. So 2 guys completely done for the day, LaJoie and Atwood.
And there's a look at Ed Barrier, by the way, driving the other Lear car, the team car, as we swap the lead once again up front. They're having some fun, BP.
Yes, they are, and guess where that was? Over in turn 2. So evidently Jeff Gordon said, you're not the only guy that has a honey spot around this racetrack. I get around turn 2 pretty well.
All right, mixing it up back here. That's Tony Raines, the impressive rookie driver that came out of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in the 74 car. Kenny Irwin in the Rayovac machine, and, of course, the 52 of Ed Barrier.
Those cars are back in 37th, 38th, 39th.
You know, while we sit here and watch this part of the race, and you see that the Winston Cup guys are spread out through the entire field, except looking at the monitor, if you look at the top 15 cars on the racetrack right now, only 2 of the guys in the top 15 are not running in the Winston Cup race tomorrow. The top 15, like Benny said at the beginning, or like they said at the beginning, this is almost a Winston Cup race in Busch cars.
Kenny Irwin's 1999 season. Earnhardt Jr. says, okay, let's see what I can do with you off the turn. He hugs the inside and powers right on by. And waves to Jeff, says, thanks for the room.
Yeah, you see him waving. And those 2 guys are just racing each other. They're the class of the field at this point in time until they're able to make pit stops and some other guys can make adjustments. These 2 guys are running wherever they want to. You see Jeff run high. You see Jeff run low. You see Dale Jr. run high. You see Dale Jr. come off the corner on the line. They're filling each other out. If it comes down to the end of the race, I'd hate to be the guy in second place because I think the guy in first knows what you're going to do.
And they're starting to get some slower cars. And we talk about fuel mileage. We're now 34 laps into this thing. The caution flag comes out right now. Some of these guys will probably make pit stops and try to make it the rest of the way.
Exactly. 2 years ago, Steve Park won this race by pitting on lap 33, going 67 laps. The year before, Purvis won it pitting on lap 34. He ran 66 laps.
And, you know, you talk about these guys racing like this and one leading and then the next one leading. Bobby Leslie, who used to be the crew chief for Mark Martin on the Busch car, we were talking about this morning. They had to pit last year, and Burton ends up winning the race. And Burton followed Mark all that time and was able to run 9 laps further just because he stayed right in Mark's tire tracks for the whole race.
Well, a pretty good lesson on how to save fuel. That's Kyle Petty you're listening to. Benny Parsons in the booth, along with my yours truly, Jerry Punch, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber. Covering the action on pit road. Here comes Earnhardt Jr. from the Kenny Irwin bumper cam, watching Earnhardt. And there's a look at Gordon. And they will go up and try to lap the 38th place car of Kenny Irwin.
Jamaica Vacations on board camera looks back as Earnhardt Jr. dives down to the inside. Jeff Gordon dives down to the inside. Grissom is now in 36th position.
Our Lucas Oil onboard telemetry, the world's leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants. Lucas sponsoring our telemetry. Let's take a look at the RPMs and the speed at 181 miles per hour.
And just touching the brakes. That's slow the car down so it'll turn just a bit better as we see Tony Raines going by. And here goes Blaney, the third place car by these two cars.
Well, we are showing 37 laps complete, which means that we are over a third of the way home. And this stop number 23 on the $14 million NASCAR Busch Series Grand National Division Tour for 1999. A glimpse of the NASCAR future. Yes, Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, the top two. Back in just a moment.
Questions to those Carolina Panthers last night. Go Panthers.
Picked up a win over the Steelers. Playing at home at Erickson Stadium as Earnhardt Jr. trying to pick up his fifth win in 1999. A slide by Elton Sawyer. Placed the car number 98 back in 33rd position, one lap down. Pretty torrid pace early on here. They're still averaging laps at almost 171 miles an hour, 170.697. That time by Earnhardt Jr.
Ever see Matt Kenseth, the DeWalt car, started way back in the 30s, has moved his way up to the 9th position. The problem that he has is that he's 11 seconds behind the leader.
Clear by 5.
And he's not running that much faster than the leader. As a matter of fact, he's running about the same speed. So without a caution flag, he's never going to be able to get back up front.
And the bad news is, twice in the last 4 years, this race has run caution-free. There has not been a single caution flag, and that's why Mark Martin set the record. Now listening to Matt Kenseth radio, the DeWalt crew, Robbie Reiser owns that car. That's Jeff Purvis back behind him in 10th spot in the Lance Chevrolet. Brand new car this weekend for Purvis. Gary Bechtel owned car. There's the lead up front, Earnhardt Jr. Car number 3. Behind him, the Pepsi colors of Jeff Gordon.
And how about Blaney? Dave Blaney has moved back up, and here goes Jeff Gordon for the lead over turn 2. And right there is Blaney. He's joined this battle for the lead.
Now it could get a little bit interesting, Kyle, as you have 3 cars, and it's not just Earnhardt and Gordon playing.
No, it's not just them in the sandbox anymore. There's somebody else that's come and brought their bucket, and they want to play too. And Blaney wants to lead. And Blaney has been fast. As we watch the monitor up here, the last 2 or 3 laps, Blaney's been incredibly fast. He's been about a mile and you see him go the outside of Earnhardt Jr.
And he's running much higher line through the corners than both Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon. He's running that high line where Gordon and Earnhardt want to dive down to the bottom of the racetrack. Watch Jeff. He'll go down to the bottom, and Blaney continues up on the top of the racetrack. And when he comes off this corner, I'm talking about the Amoco car, he really gets a great run.
If you just joined us, Dave Blaney was our pole sitter. Shattered the old track record by almost 3 miles an hour. In fact, 37 of the 60 cars broke the track record Jeff Burton set here a year ago. Earnhardt Jr. looking back, can't quite make it work.
Dave Blaney said, well, Jeff Gordon, you dirty red, I showed you that groove and you took it away from me.
They're going into turn 3. Jeff just went in there and didn't turn. Jeff went in there and run straight, just like Blaney had. But here's Blaney going to the low side, someplace we haven't seen him really.
Says, I'll take your groove away from you. You were running down low, and I was running up high, so if I can make the pass on the inside.
I don't think an EMCO car liked it on the bottom as well as it does on top. A little twitchy on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, and one thing, another thing is he's got that 3 car. He drives past the 24 car, but he's got that 3 car behind him that loosens you up a little bit here.
Now, Earnhardt Jr. is able to push that Pontiac by. Now, he has to try to clear the 24 car.
No, he kind of squeezes between the two.
I tell you what, you got to be impressed with Blaney to qualify on the pole and shatter the record like he did, then drop back to 3rd or 4th and fight his way back and pass guys of this caliber. I think he's showing that he's going to be a force and be around for a while.
And that Michael Waltrip, the quickest lap that time, back in 6th position.
Eddie Blaney only his 51st ever start in a stock car. Former World of Outlaws champion back in 1995, a 4-time runner-up. Kenny Wallace in the Duraloop car driving for Ed Rinsey makes a pass by Kenny Schrader in the car number 15, the Oakwood Chevrolet. That is for position. That's for 12th spot.
Sterling Marlin back there also, the 14th car, and I saw Brett Bodine behind Sterling Marlin.
Kenny Wallace, a former 2-time most popular driver back when he was running in the Busch Series full-time, 8 career victories. In this series, now drives full-time in Western Cup with the Square D team of Andy Petrie.
And Sterling Marlin, the 14th car, gets by in Kenny Schrader in Andy Petrie's car. Meanwhile, the leader's in some traffic. Blaney kind of squeezes up in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr., that is. There's Dick Trickle and Adam Petty. Trickle's going to make it 3. Yeah, he'll make it 3. Bress going in the corner.
Those cars are running 29th and 30th, respectively.
We're going to fit this time, guys. We're going to fit this time.
Whoa, how about that? Is that Earnhardt Jr.? Oh, that was Adam Petty, I'm told, said he was going to pit this time.
Yeah, I think he's having a little bit of trouble. He was running up there about 26th or 27th, but in the last 4 or 5 laps, he's lost his straightaway or more and now ended up being lapped.
All right, halfway this time by, 50 down, 50 to go. We told you the fuel window would be between 55 and 65 laps, so now we'll begin looking at fuel strategy. Here is the spree. Chevy Monte Carlo.
The second flag, folks.
For Adam Petty.
Two tires, guys. 1 round of wedge.
Lance Snyder's a crew chief talking to Adam. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and also 1 round of wedge. And right in front of you, Bill Weber.
And Adam Petty sits on pit road, and they do work on the right side. They make the chassis adjustment they talked about. Now they come around to the left side. Momentarily, we expect Jeff Gordon to pit. His stall is right in front of Petty's, so it'd be to Petty's advantage to go ahead and get those tires on and get out of here. He's got his fuel now. Adam's on his way. Pit road, and will make the drive all the way down pit road. Now, Gordon's car has been very loose. What Ray Evernham told him a few laps ago is we're going to make an air pressure change and the wedge adjustment that we made on the Winston Cup car this morning. Remember, Gordon can hear his crew, but he cannot talk to them. They do put the wedge wrench in. They will make the chassis adjustment. This will be 4 tires and fuel. Before the race started, Ray Evernham reminded Gordon, you won at Sears Point with laryngitis. Just keep that in mind. Left side tires going on. They've got plenty of fuel in. Left front is done, and Jeff Gordon's on his way back to the race.
Boy, 16.9-second pit stop for the Pepsi crew down there for Jeff Gordon, and heck of a stop.
It's a great pit stop. Now that puts a lot of pressure on those NASCAR Busch Series teams. Tony Eury, Tony Jr. and Sr., and all the guys with the AC Delco car to make a 17-second pit stop. Also, Dave Blaney's guys.
There's the 21 car, the Band-Aid machine. Ronnie Silver in the crew, taking a work on the right side. You saw Mike Skinner a moment ago in the yellow freight car. C.R. Miller's crew now making a tire change there. There's Michael Waltrip's crew now left side of the Band-Aid Chevrolet. Michael having a great run. Working now on the left rear, 23-plus seconds as Sterling Marlin is right in front of Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, this is a brand-new race car they built in 1 week's time at Sabco, but Sterling's been on the radio saying a very, very loose condition. They're going to change 4 tires and air pressure change in the left rear there. Somewhat of a lengthy stop here. They got plenty of fuel in, and Sterling's down and away. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is coming in, and we expect Ward Burton in the next 2 laps.
And they are trouble getting the track foam Chevrolet started, and now it's no free fire for Sterling Marlin, and he will make his way down pit road.
That was Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Bobby Hamilton Sr. pitted right beside each other there, and their pit stop, and Jr. beats him out by a pretty good margin.
Boy, wouldn't Blaney and Dale Earnhardt Jr. love to see a caution flag now, because they'd have only 19 cars in the lead lap.
And most importantly, Jeff Gordon would be shown a lap down, but they have yet to pit. Here comes Kevin LePage in the Lear Ford Taurus down pit road. And he's headed toward you, Ray Dunlap.
Well, the 77 car running in 8th place, that's Kevin LePage. A driver change this week. He is on his way. Kevin says the car is very good. He will bring it in the attention of Jimmy Means and the entire crew. Just barely made it into his pit box. They're going right side tires right now. Fuel will be in. We expect Ward Burton to come the next time. Jeff Green in the 32 car, currently 3rd in points in right in front of the 77. LePage with somewhat of a lengthy stop right here as they go to the left side tires. Green will start, and now to Bill Weber.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in his pit stall. Mark Martin is on pit road and will pit 1 stall behind him. Earnhardt Jr.'s car has been good in 1 and 2, loose in 3 and 4. Air pressure adjustment on the right front to try and compensate that. 4 tires and fuel for the 3 car. He's on his way. 1 spot behind him. Mark Martin sits on pit road. Already has right side tires. They'll come around to the left. They wanted to take a spring rubber out of the right rear. Mark's car has been loose. They also wanted to make an air pressure adjustment. They talked about a possible wedge adjustment, but decided to take the rubber out instead. Good stuff for Mark. He's on his way.
Great pit emergency to win Dixie car headed down pit road. Now we're still waiting on Dave Blaney, who was the pole setter and remains our leader, has to make a pit stop. Here is Matt Kenseth, who had come all the way from 30th to 4th position. There's Kenseth and DeWalt Chevrolet behind him. The 4 of Purvis coming in as you watch Robbie Reiser's crew now go to work for Matt Kenseth. And they, like you heard Bill Weber and Ray Dunlap say, a lot of guys complaining of being loose in 3 and 4, making air pressure adjustments. They make a wedge adjustment, looks like Kyle in the left rear of the 17 car.
Yeah, and the 17 car came down pit road the best of anybody. He carried some speed down through here. Even though there is a speed limit, he carried some speed and did really good as Blaney comes down pit road right behind him.
The Amoco car, our leader and our pole sitter. Blaney looking for that first Busch Series win, pitting all the way at the very end of pit road in front of Ray Dunlap.
Well, they knew they could go to lap 60, but they decided to not take a chance here. Come in and make sure there's plenty of fuel. Right side tires are going on Dave Blaney's car. No chassis change at this time. Dave says he's very happy. They come around to the left side. Fuel is going in right now. This is a pretty routine pit stop. A little bit of fuel comes out. They've got plenty of fuel to go the distance, and Blaney is down and away. It looks like about a 18-second stop.
Pit stop now being cycled here at Michigan Speedway. As you look at Kenny Irwin's Rayovac crew, he is down and away after a 4-tire change and filling it up with fuel. Here is the car number 9, the track gear car of Jeff Burton. Bill Weber.
And they do make a major wedge adjustment on Burton's car. Right side tires going on. This will be a 4-tire stop as well. Lots of traffic still on pit road at that end. Burton getting his 4 tires in fuel. Remember how well he ran in this race a year ago? They're having trouble with the left rear, but as crew chief told me this morning, they changed everything on this car except the paint. So far, so good.
All right, not a bad stop for Tommy Morgan and the track gear crew. They made that huge adjustment in the left rear for Jeff Burton. See if that makes a difference here. And remember, if you just joined us, based on fuel mileage, there normally is only 1 pit stop in this 100-lap event, and they have just made it. Now, Benny, you were watching a moment ago a replay of one of the pit stops.
Yeah, Dave Blaney makes the left sides are going up. They rolled, we can't see it from this angle, but they rolled the tire in for the left rear, and they rolled it exactly where the jack man was going to be. And he had to stop and wait for just about a second for somebody to move the tire, and that is a second that he'll need when he gets back on the racetrack. Because there we see Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon hooked up. This is for the lead.
And you mentioned that tire problem. And there's about a 3-second separation back to Blaney. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Blaney's nowhere to be seen. So just little things like that is so critical.
Well, small mistakes, little things have huge impacts at 180 miles an hour. And there are the two they're chasing right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the AC Delco Chevrolet, and the Pepsi Chevy of Jeff Gordon. 59 laps are complete. Our ESPN coverage of exciting NASCAR Busch Series action from Michigan is being brought to you by the more than 2,700 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Daytona USA, the official attraction of NASCAR. And by ESPN Home Video. Get your officially licensed NASCAR videos from ESPN Video. Back in Michigan, I'm Jerry Punch along with Benny Parsons, Kyle Petty, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber. Live coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series action, and there's the guy they're chasing, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And there's the chasee, the number 1 chasee, and that would be Jeff Gordon. He's a half second behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now we got to go back about 4 seconds to find the battle for third position. That's between teammates Ward Burton, the Siemens car, and Dave Blaine in the Amico car.
I mentioned while we were away a moment ago the 25 car of Kenny Wallace and the 91 of Rich Bickle both headed to the garage area. For you Wallace and Bickle fans, they are behind the wall. We'll update you as soon as we can.
And looking at the monitor here, Tony Raines has moved up to 14th position. And he got lapped incredibly early. He was lapped at like 30 or 40 laps or something. I don't know that if he didn't change 2 tires during that pit stop or what, but he had an incredible pit stop to come from 35th or 36th up to 14th position, 15th position.
There's the 5 car of Dick Trickle. Remember, he came in on that first caution flag. He was one of the 3 cars that pitted on lap 4. Trickle being shown in 5th position, the Snyder National car. And here's not a good sight for Mike Skinner.
Now, anytime you see the hood up on a race car in the pits, that's not a good sign. And most of the trouble is not visible anyway. Most of the trouble is inside the engine.
Well, there have been a number of drivers who've had problems here this weekend. Bill Weber?
Well, Kyle, you'll have a special interest in this one. Adam Petty has been back to pit road. After they put on the 4 tires and sent him back out, he said the car had a terrible push. So they were concerned one of the tires...
You don't even roll over. It's already pinned.
They were concerned that one of the tires wasn't any good or that they got a bad set. They brought Adam back to pit road, put on 4 more tires, and the car's not any better. So that's a learning curve, obviously, but these tires have really been a mystery to some of these young guys, Kyle.
Yeah, you know, you could hear his radio voice on the radio then. He's talking about it rolling over. He's complained about it during practice, rolling over on that right front and just staying on the right front and giving him a real strange feel. That's probably because the first time I brought him up here, he was 15 years old when he drove around this place. I let him drive my Winston Cup car here about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. But they've struggled with how this thing is supposed to feel to them.
Jason Keller getting service on pit road. Steve Addington and the crew. He was one of those cars that also pitted on lap 5 and now comes back in on lap 67. And now here, once again, is the 5 car making his second stop and what should be final stop of the day for Dick Trickle and the Jimmy Spencer-owned Snyder Trucking Chevy.
Well, he stopped on that first caution flag at lap 5 or something. That's one reason he was able to go. And Jeff Gordon takes the lead as Earnhardt Jr. I thought was boxed in, but now Jeff Gordon decides he does not want to go 3 wide on the bottom of the racetrack. He falls back in behind Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's Kevin Drubb right in front of Earnhardt Jr. in the Timberwolf car. Now Gordon will go around the other car and pull right up to the rear deck. And now Jr. has some room on the inside.
These cars are running back in the 23rd, 24th position.
Vantage point from Shane Hall. As you take a look at our Lucas Oil telemetry.
Down to 153 miles per hour. In the middle of the corner, now they accelerate. This thing will go up to about 180, 90 miles per hour. At the end of the straightaway, this would be the fastest point of the racetrack. Up to 183 before he just touches the brakes, just enough to keep the car on the bottom of the racetrack. As Shane Hall tries to get on the inside of Kevin Grubb and follow those leaders by. He wasn't able to get by him, but he was able to get by one of the other cars.
Shane Hall on the outside front row. Last time out at IRP, his best qualifying effort of the year, had a top 5 finish at Myrtle Beach early in the year. He finished 4th, so this team really coming around. The Kerry Agajani and Mike Kerb owned CT Farm and Country General Chevrolet.
And Dick Trickle, he stayed out there just a little bit too long because I'm told he ran out of fuel and had to be pushed to get the car refired.
Adam Petty is back in with the hood up, and that is not a good sign, Bill.
Well, it's not an engine problem. They're concerned.
Bounce on it right there, guys. Bounce on the rear. See if you feel like a shock to give up.
You can hear them talking about a potential shock problem. They're going to try and make a chassis adjustment. Now they're going to talk it over, and this could be the end of the day for Adam, but that's why they raised the hood. They wanted to check the front suspension. And they checked the rear as well. So he's obviously got some kind of a handling problem.
Well, if you're not running well, why not use the race to learn?
And that's what I said about Casey earlier. The best thing he can do is get out there and get some laps. And that's going to be important because it'll pay off. It won't pay off today, but it'll pay off in the future.
All right, there are the leaders, Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, but Dave Blaney had a little bit of a problem in the pits and cost him about 3 or 4 seconds. He is gaining ground. The pole sitter in the Amoco Pontiac now being shown about 2 seconds back and making his way toward the front. Back with more in just a moment. Back at Michigan Speedway, 3 veteran crew chiefs watching intently. Gil Martin watches his driver, Dave Blaney. There's Ray Evernham watching the Pepsi chauffeur, Jeff Gordon. And Tony Uri Sr. watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place as the battle heats up toward the front. And Earnhardt Jr. makes a move inside of Brett Bodine, but Gordon is right there.
Gordon's trying to figure out which lane to take. He decides that, well, maybe I'll go in the middle. Well, the middle will be basically following Dale Earnhardt Jr. as they exit turn 4.
Now from high above, a courtesy of the fine folks of the Outlaw copter cam, giving us this panoramic view here in the Irish Hills of Michigan of this very wide and expansive 2-mile D-shaped oval. Where's the 3rd place car, Benny? The 93 car. He's being shown just under 3 seconds back. There he is, the Amoco Pontiac.
He was about 4.5 seconds behind when he first came out of the pits. He now has closed it down to 3 seconds. But during the break, Kyle Petty and I talked, and Kyle brings up an awfully good point that maybe some of it was he gained while those guys were battling with the lap traffic.
Yeah, when you said something a minute ago where they were running 2 and 3 wide down the straightaway and he was trying to choose a lane, or the 24 car of Gordon was trying to choose a lane. Blaney was still running 173, and they were popping up on the screen at 169. So you can make up some ground pretty quick like that.
Our AutoZone race recap shows you that our leader is Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 24-year-old 3rd-generation driver and defending Busch Series champion. He has led 44 of 76 laps. Lead changes 9, 1 caution for 4 laps. Give the average speed down just over 155 miles per hour. Lap leaders, Earnhardt Jr., Dave Blaney, our pole sitter. Jeff Gordon has led 11 laps, and Brett Bodine in the car number 54. Out of race, Terry Labonte has called it a day. Mike Skinner, Kenny Wallace, Rich Bickle in the 91 car, Randy LaJoy, 2-time Busch champion, Mark Green, Dr. Pepper Machine, Casey Atwood, the youngster, and Gary Bradbury involved in an incident on lap number 4 coming out of turn 4.
See, David Green, the 41 car, AFG Industries, has been lapped. He is in 16th position. There's Blaney. He's now lost a little ground. He's lost about 0.2 of a second to the leaders. He now is catching that same traffic they caught, Kyle.
Blaney's best finish this year coming at Atlanta, where he set on the pole with a new track record. In this same car, he finished 2nd to Mark Martin at Atlanta.
Oh, closed up quick. on the back bumper of Mike Dillon. Drives down to the inside. Dillon is running in the 20th position.
I mentioned there were 16 cars in the lead lap. The 16th place car is the 32 of Jeff Green, and he is third in the point standings. Now the fourth place car is the 02. That car there, the Pontiac of Ward Burton. That's the Bill Davis-owned car. Ward Burton, of course, the pole sitter. The new track record for Sunday's Pepsi 400 here at Michigan. Making only his second Busch start in 1999. He finished second at Dover early in the year. They were at California, but the rains precluded qualifying. Then he had a good distance back to the fifth place car, Mark Martin.
Mark Martin right now is over 17 seconds behind the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Ever see Mark Martin coming off turn 2? There he went.
Well, Bill Weber, it's been somewhat of a surprise that Mark Martin hasn't been that much of a factor thus far today.
Jerry, it sure has, and the reason is a very loose race car. Mark called in about 5 laps ago and said, it's still loose, it's still loose. If we stop, we have to make an air pressure adjustment, and he wanted several rounds of wedge. Obviously, we've only had one caution so far, but they won't stop under green. The only reason they'd come back in if there'd be another caution, and that would help Mark considerably at this point.
Here's a battle for the 7th position as Matt Kenseth loses that spot to the 21 car, the Band-Aid Chevrolet.
All of a sudden, Kenseth, it looks like Kenseth has a problem.
Kenseth probably half a straightaway behind you.
He's moving over like he's taking a very defensive, like there's something in there. We see the 33 car, Hermie Sadler, goes blowing by. Here comes the 63 car, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Something is wrong with Matt Kenseth's car.
And this could be huge in the total scenario of Busch Series championship points. He came from 30th starting spot to 4th in the field, and now he has lost 5 positions in the last
5 He may have lost a cylinder because you saw how coming off the corner through the center of the corner, he was as fast as the cars on the outside of him. So he must be running it wide open, but down the straightaway, they just drive off. So he must be having some type of motor trouble.
Bill Weber.
Yeah, it definitely is an engine problem, and they're starting to pack it up here, so I can't see him on the racetrack. I don't know if he's already headed to the garage, but it looks like the crew's headed that way. Big break for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Bad break for Matt Kenseth. It could be a valve spring problem on the 17 car.
And there's a look at Robbie Reiser. You can see the concern in his eyes. His car and his driver, what a great showing they had for about 60 laps, but now it may go all the way. Back with more from Michigan in just a moment. Winding down here in the NASCAR Busch Series Napa 200. Action coming your way tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Indianapolis Raceway Park presents the Mel Kenyon Classic, race named in honor of the all-time winningest USAC midget car driver who has 111 career feature wins. That's the Mel Kenyon Classic tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. And speaking of open wheel sensations, how about Dave Blaney? His 4th pole this year, 3rd track record, and he is trying desperately to get his first ever Busch Series win. He sits in 3rd spot, Ray, just about 4.5 seconds back.
Doc, they lost just a little bit of time coming in for the pit stop. Bill, I know you lost some time, but are you gaining it back on the racetrack?
Well, Dave's real fast, and he is gaining, but we gave him a couple seconds here. And that's too much. When you got 2 fast cars like that out front, we're probably not going to catch him. But, good day for these amateur guys. They come up here and race with the Winston Cup guys and sat on the pole and had a good respectable day.
Well, that's what this Busch Series is really all about, though, right? Learning and getting ready to make that next step.
Oh, I think so. I think that's what the Busch Series is for. These guys have got to come up here and race with the Cup guys to learn how to race. Definitely support the Winston Cup guys running Busch racing.
Okay, good. That's Bill Davis. And guys, here, a little factoid for you. Ward Burton on the pole tomorrow. Bill Davis's car there. It's the first time, I believe, ever in NASCAR racing that the same team has won the pole for both races and set a track record. Both cars very, very fast.
Indeed, a pretty good weekend thus far for Bill Davis Racing. Brad Thrower builds the engines in the Busch cars, and they had 2 cars qualifying the top 5 with him and Ward Burton here in the Busch event. And, of course, Ward Burton on the pole for the Pepsi 400. Speaking of Pepsi cars, Benny, here's Mr. Gordon trying to make a move.
And Jeff Gordon is losing ground to Dale Earnhardt Jr. He now is almost a second and a half. This is the farthest we've seen him from Dale Earnhardt Jr. since they've thrown the green flag. There we see Earnhardt Jr. come up the corner. There goes Gordon. So right now, Earnhardt Jr. evidently working through this lap traffic a little bit better than Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, he's either working through traffic a little bit better or, something's happened. But the 24 has definitely lost touch with the 3 car. And to lose touch with, 9 or 10 laps to go, this is not the time to be losing touch.
That's Buckshot Jones right behind Jeff Gordon.
And we mentioned Matt Kenseth having his problems. They apparently are down on power. They have a problem internally in the engine, we are being told, and he is about 6 to 7 miles an hour slower as you see Earnhardt Jr. go by to put the DeWalt Chevrolet a lap down. Kenseth now being shown in 10th spot with just 10 laps to go.
But unfortunately, those cars coming there are positions for Matt Kenseth. Both the 4 car of Jeff Purvis, the 00 of Buckshot Jones.
There's Earnhardt Jr., the leader. The 24 car, the blue and white numeral Pepsi Chevrolet for Jeff Gordon. There comes the Amoco colors for the former World of Outlaws champion, 36-year-old Dave Blaney out of Portland, Ohio.
And that last lap, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a mile per hour faster than Jeff Gordon, faster than anyone. He's a mile per hour faster than anyone else in the top 6 positions.
And you see there, 11 of 22 races have been won from the front row. 5 times from the pole, 6 times from the outside front row. So Earnhardt Jr. started 3rd today. This track's been awfully good to him. He ran his first Super Speedway Busch start here back in 1997. And was he ever impressive? Any of you remember that day?
Oh, I do remember. I was thinking about that a little bit ago. The first time I ever saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. at this racetrack, he was very, very impressive.
He started 18th, finished 7th, ran in the top 10 all day long with no previous Super Speedway experience. What you calling that?
And that's that build experience and that build confidence. And that's the main thing. He come up here, he run with Mark Martin the first year, he run with Winston Cup guys. He wasn't as competitive like he is today, but he run right there behind them, and he learned a lot of things. And the confidence that he built for that first race, he comes back here every time, and he's the guy to beat.
See Matt Kenseth now 65 points behind him. He's still in 14th position, but he's going to start losing more laps, more positions. Now he's already back to 17th, just as I look. He's going to lose more and more points because as all these other cars catch him and pass him, there's nothing to do about it. And there's still about 10 more cars that are 1 lap down that have a potential to catch Kenseth and pass him.
And remember, there are just 9 events remaining after today in this Busch Series Championship. We'll follow those points very closely the next few weeks as we go to Bristol, Tennessee next Friday night. Then Darlington on September 4th, and then up to Richmond International Raceway on September 10th. The next 3 consecutive Busch Series events. Coverage on ESPN and ESPN2. I'll take a look at the average finishes there between Junior Kenseth and Jeff Green, the top 3 in points. Pretty darn close.
That's incredibly close to think you've got 3 different drivers, 3 different teams, and they're all doing the same things on the racetrack. That speaks highly of the Busch Series.
And if you're wondering about Jeff Green, the 3rd place point man, he is in 16th position, 1 lap down.
There's Elliott Sadler, the 35 car, about to go another lap down.
And here's Mike McLaughlin in the car number 34, the Gould's Pumps Chevrolet. Ray?
Well, Jerry, this time last year we were talking about McLaughlin trying to get in the championship chase. He's certainly out of that this year, comes in 8th in points. But they announced yesterday that Mike would be going to another team next year. He will teammate with Andy Santerre at Innovative Motorsports. So Mike McLaughlin making a move, and that kind of begins the silly season in the Busch Series. Lots of guys trying to look around to see where they'll be next year. That leaves the 34 car open, and a lot of guys would like to drive for that team. But by Phil Parsons not making the race today, he loses or has the shot at losing the record for the most consecutive starts in a row. Bill had 144 coming into today. Today is Mike McLaughlin's 142nd start consecutively. So this is one of the Iron Men of the series, but he will be changing rides next year.
And congratulations to Mike and wife Katie. They're expecting their first child on March the 14th, Katie was telling me. So they are expecting, and Mike McLaughlin's expecting better luck next year with that new ride with George Devidar at Innovative Motorsports. 4 laps to go here at Michigan Speedway. Laps winding down. The 8th annual Napa 200.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. still leads with 3 laps to go, and now Jeff Gordon is 3 seconds behind the leader. Just a little bit ago, Kenseth was 65 points behind Earnhardt Jr. He's dropped now 83 points back. He's lost 18 points in the last 3 or 4 laps.
And we mentioned the not that many races left. He just loses another spot. That's another handful of points. 3 laps to go for Earnhardt Jr. Now as they flash by, it'll be 2 to go.
You know, we saw Earnhardt Jr.'s car earlier work on the high side and work on the low side. Saw how strong he was up off 2. As the laps have gone on, he's done nothing but get stronger and stronger and worked in 2 more grooves. He's got 3 or 4 grooves where Jeff and those guys have to run in the middle of the racetrack or have to run to the high side more as the tires go away. He's a lot better, and I think that's why he's been able to stretch it out to 2 or 3 second lead over the second place guy.
There is a second place guy, Jeff Gordon, making his 4th start in 1999 in the Pepsi Gordon Evernham Motorsports Chevrolet. That's the Busch Series car with Jeff Purvis right behind him.
Kyle, just interesting to see what they might learn today. Jeff Gordon, Ray Evernham, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and his team that would help them in tomorrow's 400-mile race.
And here's a battle for 6th position on the final lap. Left side of your screen, Jeff Burton. Right side, Michael Waltrip.
Battle for 6th and 7th. And here comes Earnhardt Jr. down in turn 3 for the last time.
And you know, you talk about Ray Evernham learning. You expect Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon to learn something from the Busch race. I just hope Dale Earnhardt Jr. doesn't learn anything from this and come out tomorrow and do this to all the Winston Cup guys.
Well, they will wave the checkered flag for the 3rd generation driver for the 5th time in 1999 and the 1st time at Michigan Speedway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the Napa 200. Now let's see this battle for 6th position on the final lap. Jeff Burton on a Ford, car number 9. Here comes Michael Waltrip in a Chevrolet.
Oh, Michael's trying, but can he get there?
Half a car length, and yes,
I believe he did.
I think Michael got the position, so put Michael Waltrip in 6th spot. Let's go down to the Earnhardt pit. Bill Weber standing by with Tony Eury.
And Tony Eury Sr., another outstanding day for your driver, another great car you put him in.
Yeah, seems like it's the same car just about every time. Ron Hunter did a great job on the engine today, and we've got to thank AC Delco, Nabisco, Snap-on, Burger King, everybody supporting us, and we couldn't let AC Delco down. We're working hard on that Budweiser car over there, and
how's he been able to do going back and forth between both garages?
he done real good. We've been picking out points for throttles and reminding him and stuff like that. It's a lot of difference between them 2 cars here at Michigan, and kind of busted our crew up. Tony Jr.'s been trying to do the Budweiser car and trying to help me on the AC Delco car, and I've been trying to help him on the Budweiser car. So we've been split up, and we just split our crew. Just told one part stay here and one part stay there. Me and him and J.O.'s been running back and forth, but everything's working out good. Budweiser car's running good, too, so Ray come over here and played our game today. We beat him. We're going to go over and play his game tomorrow, see if we can beat him over there.
Best of luck tomorrow. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Tony Eury Sr. and the entire AC Delco crew on their way to victory lane.
Boy, has Michigan Speedway been good to this young man. His first Super Speedway start, an incredible IROC finish back in June, and a victory today. Back to talk to him in a moment. Hundred his history. There stands Dad, and there's the 3rd generation driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., victorious as we go down to our McDonald's winner's circle and Bill Weber.
You can certainly tell the emotion. Father and son in victory lane. We've seen this here before, but today You're a winner again. Congratulations.
Well, I got to hand it to Tony and Keith, our tire guy, for working with this new tire that Goodyear's give us. It's been kind of difficult. We've had to change the setup quite a bit, and the car was a handful there a couple times, but we adjusted on it, and Tony made some good calls, and I just had to drive it. I mean, it's a pleasure to drive every time I get in it, and I'm thrilled to be in victory lane again.
Another outstanding performance, Dale.
I can get used to this being a car owner stuff. I'm going to drive for a few more years, but he's getting ready here. I'm going to enjoy this.
How about the adjustments he had to make this weekend, winning on a weekend when running both sides of the garage?
Well, that shows the team, Tony and all the guys are up to it. Now, if he don't wear out on us tomorrow, we'll be okay, but the guys did a great job.
There are tremendous differences between the two cars, but can you learn anything today that give you more experience toward tomorrow?
Most definitely. We learned a lot. See, they gave us a new tire this weekend, and we learned a lot about it on long runs and what's the tire's characteristics after 50 or 60 laps. So that's going to help us a lot tomorrow. We were quite loose on the long run. The car started out real good, got loose after about 40 laps. And we'll work on our cup car and see if we can't see the same symptoms and try to correct them the same way we did here. So we're just real happy. AC Delco, we're still trying to stay on top to win this championship again for you. And, I got to hats off to my crew. They do a good job putting together great race cars.
It seems like just yesterday we were back in that Busch garage. You were running some race here and you finished 7th. You were just a young kid with a bright future.
Yeah, but I knew right away when I got on the track I liked Michigan. And I'm glad to win here in the Busch Series because this is my home. And man, it was a great race. I really enjoyed racing Jeff Gordon. He's a class act. Had a lot of fun with him, trading around, trading spots, and working together. And it's a great race. It's a shame the cars weren't more competitive together. It's a lot of fun racing him.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in victory lane, plus picks up a lot of points in the chase for that second consecutive Busch Series championship.
Well, add in another Earnhardt next week as the oldest son, Kerry, gets back in a NASCAR Busch Series car with the Team Marines colors and Ed Whitaker Chevrolet. We'll be there at Thunder Valley. NASCAR Winston Cup Bud Pole qualifying at 5 Eastern Time, RPM tonight, and our live flag-to-flag coverage of the Food City 250 at 7 Eastern Time. Back with more in a moment. Season special, Cowboys and Patriots, 8:15 Eastern Time. Mike Patrick and all the crew. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap and check in with our second-place finisher.
Race run for Jeff Burton in the Pepsi Chevy. Jeff, Little Earnhardt had you covered today, didn't he?
Yeah, he was shocked. They did a great job. But I'm real proud of this score in Everton Motorsports. Patrick Donahue and Michael Lance, all these guys work really, really hard to do these few races that we do, but they did a great job this week, and we were really strong through the corners, and we got a little bit of work left to do, but I was a little bit loose, and Dale Jr. was loose there at the beginning also, and I thought, well, let's just tighten it up, and when I tightened it up, I just wasn't as good, so I was better off being loose. I wish we could have made one more stop. We might have had something for him, but I want to thank Pepsi and Fritos. This has been a lot of fun.
Brand new tire this year for both divisions. Were you able to learn anything today that'll help you for tomorrow?
Well, I learned a little bit this morning in practice with the Winston Cup car, but the Busch car is so much different. There's so much less horsepower in the Busch car that, you've got to set the cars up quite a bit different. And I'm sure the Cup cars are going to be pretty loose to start out with, but they should be pretty good on the longer runs.
Okay, that's Jeff Gordon finishes second today at Michigan.
All right, what an effort by Gordon, and what a crowd as they jammed their way in the beautiful Michigan Speedway under almost a cloudless sky. Beautiful afternoon. What a show they saw in NASCAR Busch competition. Back in a moment. Let's go down to the pits and Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, Dave Blaney stands about 65 feet from victory lane right now. I know you'd love to be over there. It was another valiant effort from your team today, but you ran with some of the best of them, and I know you're satisfied.
Yeah, it might as well be 65 miles. No, we are satisfied. Man, tickled for the whole Amoco team. Man, they've got a good race team here. Gil Martin and all my guys, and man, the motor shop's putting out some awesome stuff. And I got to thank Bill and Gail for sticking me in this thing and sticking with me. And we can just hang like that every week and race them like that every week. We'll get some here.
I said at the top of the show, I think your team could be considered as the most improved in all of stock car racing right now. The stat I used at the top of the show was your 51st stock car start. Incredible how well you've adapted.
Well, I'm learning. I'm learning every time out. I got good people around me. I got Ward Burton's team and him to lean on, and they put you in good cars. It makes a difference, and they certainly got me in good stuff.
Okay, good luck for the rest of the year, and Dave Blaney gets ready to go up to Winston Cup in the year 2000.
All right, Dave Blaney's third top 5 of the year. Take a look at our results unofficially, of course, here with 9 cars finishing on the lead lap. Kevin LePage, pretty good run in the Lear 4 today. Spencer and LePage, 8th and 9th spot. 43 cars started today. Bobby Hamilton Jr. finishing in 23rd spot, the last car 1 lap down. And a tough break for Matt Kenseth finishing in 22nd spot. He came in just 1 point out of a tie for the Busch Series points lead. The remainder of our starting field of 43, you'll see that Adam Petty, Terry Labonte, Mike Skinner, and a host of others did not finish here this afternoon. When we come back, we'll take a look at the updated NASCAR Busch Series points as we head to Thunder Valley next Friday night at Bristol, Tennessee, where it can really get mixed up. Back in a moment. Speedway celebration ongoing in Victory Lane. Now we've got some kart FedEx action coming your way tonight. Qualifying at 6 o'clock Eastern time. With just 9 remaining, Dale Earnhardt Jr. opening up a fairly comfortable lead. Benny Parsons, 89 points.
89 points. Matt Kenseth had that engine problem, and we see lost 88 points today to the leader. Jeff Green lost some points. He's now 168 back. It looks like the championship will be decided between those 3 drivers.
And speaking of Matt Kenseth, finishing back in 22nd spot, Bill Weber is standing by with him.
And Matt has just climbed into his Winston Cup car, and I know you're focused on this race already, Matt, but obviously disappointment in what happened here this afternoon.
Yeah, it was definitely disappointing. The DeWalt Chevy ran really good. I was really happy the car performed good all weekend. Just wasn't very fast in qualifying for him. Had some type of part break in the motor today. I don't know if it was a valve spring or what, but Motor Builder's been doing a great job this year. It's the first failure we've had. So we'll just have to take it and go to Bristol.
And, Matt, you have run so well, people are automatically going to point to this weekend as saying, well, they tried to do both races and bit off more than they could chew.
Well, you know, there's nothing we can do about parts failure. And, you know, besides qualifying, our car performed really good today. We were as good or better than leaders a lot of the day. Just this is usually a caution-free race, so it was real hard to get to the front. And I'm real proud of qualifying 25th with the DeWalt Ford for the Winston Cup race. And this thing's running pretty good, so I'm pretty excited about tomorrow.
Best of luck Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Bill.
Let's go to Ray.
Well, Bill, for the 9th time this year, Jeff Burton gets another top 10 in the Busch Grand National Series. But at the top of the show, I said there'd be a Roush car in Victory Lane. I think I missed the boat a little bit.
You didn't do your research very well, I guess. We just weren't as good today with the track gear Ford as we hoped to be. We actually were a lot better today than we were yesterday. I really was worried about it when I went to sleep last night. Tommy Morgan and all those guys we did a lot of changes to the car today, and they made it better. We actually... We had a 5th place, 5th, 6th, 7th place car. We finished 7th. We ran over something and had a tire going down, had a little leak in it at the end, so that hurt us 1 spot. But it wasn't the best day. But I keep telling everybody, the Busch guys are really good, and these races aren't easy to win. Just because you're a Winston Cup guy doesn't mean you will go in there and win those races. We work real hard on that Busch programs. When we don't hit the setups, we don't win. And just like everybody else, you got to handle well. When you don't handle well, you can't win.
Fastest car in 2nd round for the Winston Cup race for tomorrow's race. Do you have a car good enough to work your way to the front?
We did this morning. We had an exceptional car this morning. If we can carry that over till this afternoon and tomorrow, then we can. I was real happy with our lap. We never worked on qualifying at all this morning. We worked on race stuff the whole time. We threw that qualifying setup back in it and never made a lap other than when we actually made our time lap. And that was the fastest of the 2nd day. So we're pretty proud of that. Had a great practice this morning, ran a lot of laps, and feel pretty good about it.
Okay, have a good day tomorrow. Now let's go back to Bill. I believe he caught up with Michael Waltrip.
Michael starts 20th tomorrow. He's in his Winston Cup car, but a dramatic 6th place finish for you here moments ago.
Well, you got to get all you can get, and the best I could get was 6th there at the end. The Band-Aid Chevy was right the first half of the race. My radios went out, and I couldn't make an adjustment, and our Monte Carlo got a little bit loose there at the end, but a real competitive run for us. Looking forward to tomorrow. This Phillips Electronics car is running good. Want to say hello to Miss Matei, Jim's mom. Sweetest lady in the whole world, and she was in the hospital for a few days, but she's doing good now, and we just want to tell her we're thinking about her.
Michael, everybody's talking about tires in the Busch race. What about the Winston Cup race?
They're different. They're definitely different. They make the car really react to whatever you do to the steering wheel and the gas, too. So if you hit the gas or turn the wheel, the thing wants to jump around a little bit, and to get around corners, you have to do a lot of that. So you're constantly working with it. I think it's a better tire. We put so much pressure on that right front tire here in June, just pushing the thing off the turn. Now it's allowed us to use the back end to steer it a little bit. It's a little bit out of control sometimes, but I believe the guy that gets the setup right is going to be really happy with his tire.
Okay, give us some more of that dramatic racing again tomorrow with your radio working.
With my radio working, and maybe for a little better than 6, would that be better?
That'd be much better. Best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
That's Michael Waltrip. He starts 20th tomorrow. The guy that starts on the pole is Ward Burton. He's with Ray.
He sure is, Bill. He finished 4th today in the Siemens car. That was a pretty good run, Ward, but I know now you're focused on tomorrow. How good is this Caterpillar car?
Well, we got to get it handled a little bit better. It's good. I mean, it's one of the top guys, top cars, but we got to get it in the ground where I feel a little bit more comfortable and I can pull the car and just get it under me a little bit better so I can run all 400 miles. But guys did a good job in my Siemens car today, and we're looking for good things tomorrow.
How much different is the setup in the Winston Cup car for the race than it was for the way you had it for qualifying?
It's quite a bit different. I would like to better run that setup, but I'm afraid that setup won't run but a couple of laps, probably just one.
Yeah, and guys, yesterday you might have remembered Dale Jarrett said there's no way he was going to run as fast as Ward did. Set a new track record in qualifying. He's on the pole tomorrow.
All right, lots of racing action yet to come your way this weekend from here at Michigan Speedway. Happy hour, NASCAR Winston Cup version, 7 o'clock Eastern time on the Deuce tonight. RPM tonight, wrapping up all the racing action, including last night's exciting NASCAR Craftsman truck win by Greg Biffle out at Gateway Speedway in St. Louis. Of course, tomorrow's action, RPM today, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. NASCAR today with Bill Weber setting the stage for Bob Jenkins and Ned Jarrett to step in with the rest of our crowd for live flag-to-flag coverage of the 30th running of the NASCAR Winston Cup Pepsi 400 at 12:30 Eastern time. RPM tonight, wrapping it up at 9 Eastern on the Deuce. Let's check in once again with Ray.
Well, Doc, I hope everyone will join tomorrow as we get ready for NASCAR Today. We're the pre-race show to the Winston Cup race. A half hour before every NASCAR race takes the green flag, we'll be on tomorrow to bring you all the stories. Ward Burton on the pole. We'll be ready tomorrow. Now to Bill Weber.
Some outstanding qualifying performances here on Friday. That's performance. Now comes pressure. A number of guys in the top 15 have never won or haven't been to victory lane in a long time. Tomorrow, they face the pressure of following up that performance. Can they have a good finish to a great start? We'll see, Jerry.
All right, what an exciting day for the NASCAR Busch Series here at Michigan Speedway. Their 8th visit here in the Napa 200, and it got hot and heavy in a hurry in the early laps. It didn't take long for the action. Lap 4 with Gary Bradbury's contact with the wall. That by virtue of Kenny Irwin as Tony Urey Sr. looked on. And here was one of the battles today. Dave Blaney, the pole sitter. And, of course, Ray Evernham knew his Pepsi car would be a factor. But it might have been this miscue in the pits. That tire rolled right in front of the jackman, and Bill Davis was not happy because his driver would have to settle for 3rd spot. Robbie Reiser, his disappointment today for losing points. But it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. who won it all. For Ray Dunlap, Bill Weber, Kyle Petty, and Benny Parsons, I'm Jerry Punch, congratulating Little E on his victory and inviting you to celebrate another great moment in ESPN history.